I just hit the record button on my box too. I just remembered.
Nice.
All right, here we go.
All right.
A lot of podcasts these days. Tippy toe around everybody's little feelings. The little snowflakes are fragile. But you won't get any of that crap here. Welcome to the Mark G Show. From political issues to cultural issues to current events and everything in between, we're talking about it. And we talk about it how we want, melting the little snowflakes. This is the Mark G Show, and this is Mark G.
What's going on, everybody out there in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and now Wisdom? Before we go ahead and get our intros out of the way, and I say hello to my brother over here, I want to read off a few names to you guys. Eva Morales, 4th grade teacher. Irma Garcia, 4th grade teacher. Uzziah Garcia, 8 years old. McKenna Elroyd, 10 years old. Jose Flores, 10 years old. Royelo Torres, 10 years old. Xavier Lopez, 10 years old. Amari Joe Garza, 10 years old. Annabelle Guadalupe Rodriguez, 10 years old. Elijah Cruz Torres, 10 years old. Alana Garcia, 10 years old. Jace Carmela Lavanos, 10 years old. Jalia Nicole Sagaro, 10 years old. Tess Mata, 10 years old. Alexandra Anaya Rubio, 4th grade student. Jackie Cazares, 10 years old. Navia Bravo, 4th grade student. Layla Salazar, 10 years old. Alithia Ramirez, 10 years old. Mate Yelena Rodriguez, 10 years old. Miranda Mathis, 11 years old. These are the names of the teachers and children who passed away in Texas. We're going to talk a little bit about this today in our show. It is sad, but listen, I wanted to name off their names because we're here to talk about the children and the people who have passed in that, but not the people who portrayed the acts. I do today have my brother Gary, though, with us on the show, folks. Gary, what is happening, my brother?
Not a whole lot. Just I knew you wanted to get a couple of these topics off your chest, and I thought that they would make good topics. So I'm interested and looking forward to tonight.
I did, man. You know, there's a lot going on. Number one, I got to say, I'm very, I already don't like Biden. Everybody knows that. And I'm actually extremely pissed off on how Biden handled the situation from the school shooting that night when he made his address to the nation. He turned what he could have showed great presidentialness by talking about the children and, praying for the families. But instead, he turned around and made it political and started calling for bans on firearms and essentially assault weapons when there really is no such thing as assault weapons. It's actually an armor company, the company that creates it. But we can talk about that later on. But I'm more pissed off that he turned this into a political thing. And I'm also pissed off. And the reason why, folks, I read the names of the children, the teachers, is I will not mention the name of the shooter, nor will I really talk about him other than I am glad that the Border Patrol agent took him out. But we'll talk about that Border Patrol agent as well. The guy's phenomenal. He's a hero. The law enforcement, how much of a joke they were by responding to the scene and waiting more than 70 minutes before entry. This is all coming up on tonight's show, you guys. It's interesting. We're also going to talk about people, especially the far left, how they're calling for banning all guns and how that will never happen. And if it did, it would be bad. But yeah, man. So I do want to plug back onto the everything real quick though, man. So school shootings, right? they've been happening more frequently. Now, it's not really the gun situation, folks. In the school, if anybody looks at lately the most mass shootings, if anybody right now in my chat, let me go to comments here because I don't know if I'm in comments. There we go. Can anybody right now tell me? I know where they are. Where most mass shootings happen? My brother, we got 3 people, but they're not really being active
Or
right
like
now.
America, like in America, is that what you're saying? Because
In
that's
America.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, America leads the world by a large margin.
Right, but do you know where they take place?
Chicago. No, I don't understand the question. So
okay,
no.
so most gun shootings happen
Major
in
cities.
gun-free zones.
Oh yeah, where there's more strict. Yeah.
Because a law-abiding citizen is going to follow the law and not bring their gun into that gun-free zone because why? They're a law-abiding citizen. You know who's going to bring guns into a gun-free zone? Criminals, right? So we do have John Tibbetts over here posted up some. I want to bring it up. You can't stop criminals. They don't follow rules. If you want to start securing schools with one way in and one way out with a buzzing system, that does help. You know, my children's school does have that, John Tibbetts. Wow, that looks really good now. I'm loving this news.
You know, it's weird. Like, yeah, that'll be a good thing to do, right? But there's a lot of solutions that are presented, but none of them fix the root, the cause of the problem, right? So they're like, so let's add more armed guards at the schools. And would that help? Yeah, I'm sure it would, right? But it's not, you're just putting duct tape and bubble gum on to much larger problems, right? So that's like, I'm all for solutions. I wish I had more to offer myself, but you know, we should focus on fixing the problem. That's the problem with everything that's wrong. We're not trying to fix the cause of the problem. We're just trying to fix, like, when this happens, how can we respond better? It's like, well, how about we try to prevent it from happening? Right. And how can we do that? How does that happen? And I'm not talking about like super strict monitoring on people and fucking like even more authoritarian, like overreach of technology and shit like that. Like, it's mental health, right? Like that's what the problem is, right? And that's a like infinitely angled, pronged problem, because it's like in America, it's so beyond multifaceted. It's disgusting.
No, I agree with you. There's a major mental health problem here in the United States, and we don't have the resources to help people with it.
That's bullshit too. We absolutely have the resources.
Well, okay, so we have the research, but we don't have anybody pushing for it.
We just don't have the fucking like the consistency with people who want to do a good thing for not a lot of money. Like, the money's being poured into the wrong things, right? And that's just
you mean like Ukraine?
Yeah, like that was really ridiculous,
right? No, like, so we're pouring money. You're right. We're pouring money into places they don't need to be. We're pouring money all into Ukraine when we don't need to be. We should be bringing this money here stateside to be helping Americans. We could be pouring it into the mental health system. We could be pouring into the food shortage system right now to help out farmers, to help out baby food distribution. We could be pouring this money in multitude of places. We could be pouring it into, instead of quote unquote gun control, we could be putting that money into the school systems, giving them more advances to, yes, cause this more security. I was watching a video in regards to a school system. Now, I know this doesn't fix the issue like you were talking about. It does add security to the system, but the system costs $400,000. And when it attaches the school system, it has this camera system throughout the school, and it's attached to the local county sheriff's department, so they can see within these offices when an alarm is triggered. The cameras go up, and the sheriff's department actually sees everything in there. They'll be able to see the active shooter situation, and they can deploy gas, or it's not gas, but smoke down there, kind of defer the shooter so it blinds them, so they can kind of trap them in an area. And the doors are bulletproof, the glass is bulletproof. This is areas just to kind of prevent the shooter from really getting into the classrooms and hurting what is the most important, precious thing of ours, children. Children are our future. They really are. They're the ones that will be leading our country in the future. They're the ones that are going to be dictating when we're fucking wearing granny pants and fucking.
Permitting we get that far, man.
That is true.
Permitted the world even gets that far with everything that's going on.
No, there's so much better places that this money that we're sending to Ukraine that could be doing here in America.
For sure.
And that's, I don't know, that's what's pissing me off about all this. Like, we have all this money that's being dumped over in Ukraine. None of it's being over here to U.S. to help the U.S. citizens. None of it's going to help the schools. We didn't hear once. All we heard was gun control, gun control, gun control.
Right.
We didn't hear anything else about any other solutions because supposedly guns the bad thing. But there's a favorite saying, guns don't kill people. People kill people.
Spoons make people fat. Right?
Maybe.
I mean, they're definitely a tool to help people shovel food into their gullet.
That is true.
I don't know.
But
terrible comparison. Sorry.
It's a terrible comparison. But no, seriously, I agree with you. There is a major mental health issue here in the United States, and we do need to figure out how to fix this and help people that need the help. But it also comes down to people wanting to get the help. For people realizing it's okay to ask for help. I feel like we have that type of an issue too, where people don't feel like it's okay to ask for help. It's not that they're afraid to ask for help, but they feel as if they ask for help because either they're suffering from depression or maybe they're having these homicidal, suicidal thoughts, but they don't know how their family or their friends would think if they ask for help, saying, listen, I'm having these homicidal, suicidal thoughts. I need help. I think they're afraid because, they're going to be looked at, frowned upon, laughed upon. And that in return turns them down to even this more of a depressed state, dark state, where they go down this road and do this stupid shit, whether it's, taking their own life or taking other people's lives. There's different roles. And then, we've got the other stupid shit between gang violence, drug violence, domestic abuse. But wow, you're right, man. It's all boils down to mental health and stuff like that. I mean,
but like mental health is while it's a personal thing for everybody, right? Like everybody is also everybody is a product of their environment, right? So what's their environment? What's everybody's environment nowadays? Do they have a shitty home? Do they have a shitty community? Do they have shitty work? Like, I mean, before work, I'm talking like, this is like children, right? So like shitty home, shitty school, shitty community, right? So those are the things that will inevitably make somebody good or bad, right?
Right.
Firing squads. I mean, if you don't, what about just like, oh, this guy stole some bread, we'll just take his hand because he doesn't need a hand.
For those who are listening of wisdom right now that can't see this, John Tibbetts commented on Facebook, says we should bring back public hangings and firing squads. Maybe we'll think twice. What's funny though is the fact that he said this is something what you were talking about, the home and upbringing. It is something I want to talk about. So back in the day when you and I were kids, school shootings were I don't even think they ever happened, right? Because people used to go to school with freaking shotguns in their back windows of their pickup trucks. At least here in Maine, they did.
True,
right?
That's fucking true.
And there was no gun-free zone at that point. People had their hunting rifles and their on the back of the pickup truck.
I remember. Yeah.
So school shootings never happened then.
Why was that?
Because guns were on campus, motherfuckers scared. But not only that, our upbringing was completely different. If we were bad in our heads, if we fucked up, we're like, oh, fuck. Mom's going to whoop my ass or dad's going to beat my ass when I got home. We were scared shitless if we were in trouble because we knew we were going to get our asses beat. And boy, my ass beat a few times, but we knew we were going to get
I felt the wrath.
So, we would get our asses beat. It was a different upbringing, but look at us. Look at us. Look how
fucking amazing we are now, huh? Hey.
I mean, look at us, right? We didn't go out and do this stupid shit. We don't go and do half of the stupid shit that we see kids these days doing.
Hell no, dude.
We're not crying because someone hurt our feelings. We're not freaking, what do they call them? Karens. We're not acting like Karens out there. You know, we're from a different time. We were raised differently. And that's what we need to go back to right here. Yes. Hold on. John Tibbetts says kids aren't afraid of anything. Parents won't allow their kids to suffer any consequences. Kids are never exactly.
Right.
And that is the biggest problem. And
That's
the
huge problem.
It is a huge problem. The sad part is the liberals will keep pushing for people never guilty. So many people being released from jail. So many people breaking and stealing from stores.
This whole words or violence.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, man.
Right.
And this is part of the freaking issue that we're at right now. It's the biggest part of the issue is the upbringing of these kids and realizing that there is no consequences to their actions.
Participation trophies, like getting awarded for not doing anything, like that's ridiculous. External awards for not doing anything and no consequences for when you do something wrong. And this is what you end up with.
Exactly. And exactly what you end up with. And this is the problem with America. But yet they want, I don't get it. So I made a post. Well, we'll kind of talk about this. So on guns, I feel every law-abiding citizen in the United States should own a firearm, be properly trained with it. If they, go to a shooting range, make sure they're going once a month or once every couple of months to make sure they are very familiar with their weapon, make sure they know how to use their weapon, and they should have one. More criminals are stopped every year by a law-abiding citizen than they are than a law enforcement officer. Because let's look at it. Everybody's saying defund the police. The police are already fully strapped as it is. You'll get a pizza. You'll get a pizza sometimes quicker than you'll get a response from the law enforcement officer.
I just saw a thing about someone right after the Texas shooting. They ended up stopping another shooter. It was a regular citizen that had their pistol with them.
Oklahoma.
Was it in Oklahoma? Like, yeah. So just like the day after or something like that, they ended up taking out somebody who was with, I think they were going to a church or some shit, or were they? I don't know. I can't
remember the full story, but it was a good guy with a gun versus a bad guy with a gun, and the good guy with the gun won.
Yes.
So John Tibbetts obviously saw my personal Facebook post about an incident that happened over the weekend when I was working. Let's talk about work real quick, and I'm going to go to your question, John Tibbetts. For everybody knows too, this podcast is a week late, and I do apologize. I am still working 7 days a week, so squeezing the time to record this podcast is a little rough, but this is probably going to be our normal time for a little bit until I can get an employee out there. With that being said, let's go to John Tibbetts' question. He goes, when was the last time you were stopped, Mark G? I wasn't stopped. So a funny story is we just finished up at one of our clients' locations, and they're located over in the next shopping plaza over. So we cut through this side road, and there was no stop signs. And we come up to this little intersection. There's no stop signs on either side of this intersection. I saw the officer's cruiser coming towards on the up to my left side. So I stopped to allow that officer to go through. That officer stopped. Kind of looked at the officer. The officer kind of looked at me. I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm going. So I went ahead and proceeded to go to my next account. When I arrived there, I backed in. I watched the officer make one loop around. I'm like, okay, so maybe they're just checking to see what we're doing. Well, this is when we take our 5 to 10 minute break, getting a little bit of nicotine and shooting the shit, checking Facebook, da. Well, in that meantime, the officer pulled up to the front of my vehicle. So my front of my vehicle is facing the front of the officer's vehicle. And this is what I kind of funny. It was a female officer. Number one, I'll give shout out to her. She's got some fucking balls to walk up to a car with 2 guys in it by herself without calling for any backup, which she had no reason to anyways. But as she got out of her vehicle, she did approach it, asked what we were doing. I advised her, well, I clean these accounts over here, and, we're just having a little break before we go in. She's like, would you mind if I see your ID? Me, I don't care. If I'm looking at it this way, if I'm not doing anything bad, and I know this, I don't mind. I know a lot of people like John Tibbetts says, because she didn't even tell me why she was approaching us. My guess is maybe because we look suspicious. 2 guys in a van backing up. They had a bunch of these chairs outside that belong inside the restaurant. But I showed her my ID. But prior to me going into my wallet, I did advise her. I said, ma'am, when I reach for my wallet, I do want to let you know I am giving you 2 forms of licenses. I'm giving my driver's license and my concealed weapon license. I will tell you, you will probably see my firearm on my hip as I'm reaching for my wallet because it's on the same side as my gun. The officer did not flinch, did not put her hand on her weapon. I handed her both my licenses, the concealed and the normal driver's license. She didn't, and I was telling you about this on the phone. She didn't call them in. She just looked at me, gave it back to me and said, okay, thank you. And my passenger, my employee, she didn't really ask for his ID. He actually offered it up to her. He's like, would you like to see mine? Like, I think he felt kind of like, hey, why didn't you ask for mine? So he's like, would you like to see mine? So she's like, sure. And the funny part is he hands her his ID. She calls him in, checks him in. Like you were saying, those probably because I have a concealed weapon license. Most people with CCWs have that extensive background check. So they don't really have warrants because you have a warrant, you're not going to have a concealed weapon license.
Exactly.
And you go through an extensive background check when you get a concealed weapon license. And that's what a lot of people don't understand as well when it comes for gun control. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, and then she went about her way. I never asked why she approached us. She never did advise me why she approached us. John Tibbetts did say, he's over here saying she violated our civil rights, that it was illegal. Maybe it was. I don't know. I don't follow this part. I do, watch some of these videos where people like try to entrap law enforcement officers, but it's not me, right? I know I didn't do anything wrong. I know I was sitting there doing my work. She pulled me. I mean, I get it. Maybe it looked kind of suspicious. 2 men in a minivan pulls up to a restaurant that has a bunch of like bar stools outside, I don't know what they're doing outside now that I never found out. All outside. Maybe she thought we were going to try stealing. But prior to that, the week before that, someone did end up breaking in a car in the area and ditched all the stolen stuff, the lady's purse, her ID and stuff like that, in the dumpster area of that restaurant. So I myself think that maybe she just double checked and, make sure we weren't the perps, but there's probably no way that she would have figured that out anyways. But yeah, so that's what happened, John Tibbetts. That is the last time that I did not get pulled over, but I did get approached by a law enforcement officer, and I did comply without asking questions. Whether or not she did violate my civil rights, I don't know. Anybody on Wish thinks that my civil rights were violated, please chime in over here on the app, and feel free to chime in anytime as well to join in the conversation. What do you think, brother? You think my civil rights were violated?
I believe they were.
Really?
But yeah, but I don't like, it's tricky. I think it's complicated because yeah, she doesn't really have the right to ask you for your shit because you're not being arrested. You didn't do anything wrong, right? So show me your papers, right? Like it's a little, right? But the situation might be a little bit different. You understand that there was some illegal activity recently in that area. So it's like you have some information that's a little bit different. You know what I mean?
John,
I don't know.
No, I hear you. John Tibbetts. Why are you're going ahead of my podcast? John Tibbetts, I do want to talk about this too, because it goes along with everything I'm talking about. So I'm going to get to your question in just a moment, John Tibbetts. I had a way I was rolling into this. Like John Tibbetts is like speed tracking us over here.
Yeah.
So folks, listen, Biden's a fucking idiot. He should have never brought politics into the day of the shooting of these children. Should have done that. It should have been a mourning for America, prayers for the children. Our country mourns for the families in Texas. And that should have been that. There should have been nothing political brought up. It should have been nothing about banning guns, nothing coming after AR-15s, nothing like that. That's at a later time. And regardless, that shit's never happening neither. And school shootings, we've had Sandy Hook recently, a couple of years back. Then we have this one here in Texas. Let me tell you, yes, these murders are extremely fucking tragic. They're promoted on all media outlets for one agenda, and that is for going after your guns. And here's why I'm going to say that. The stats show, and folks, because I am working so much, I'm unable to pull up these stats, but I have been reading it because I've been checking it out because I've been wanting to talk about this so bad. There are more kids in America that die. I'll get to you in a minute, Wisdom. There's more kids in America who die by drunk drivers than there is by guns. We have somebody coming in from Wisdom. I'm going to accept you in just a second. And the reason why I want to talk about that, you guys, John Tibbetts did say, how can we trust the government when Nancy Pelosi's husband could have killed a kid driving drunk? He was just arrested today for an OUI. We're going to bring in somebody with on Wisdom here. Charles Rhodes. Let me bring him in. Guest is joining in. 1 second. Hey, Charles Rhodes, you're on the Mark G Show. How are you?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, sir. It's another day above ground.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on the show. I've listened to you. I just recently learned about Wisdom, and you popped up, and you have good content, and I'm following you, and I appreciate everything you're saying. And I will say that I love your voice, and everything is it's real. I feel as though it's real.
I appreciate you, sir. It's 100% real. You know, I created this podcast because I was tired of being censored on Facebook, and I wanted a way to be able to vent and get my opinions out there without worrying about being censored.
Of course, yeah. Actually, I'm at a podcast convention in Atlanta right now. I'm originally from Maryland. I'm down here visiting family. I have family in Georgia, and we're talking about everything. And the Wisdom app came up, and I guess, when I signed up, with the likes and everything, and I like everything you're saying. I 100% agree, and it's good to have that without it being censored.
Exactly. I appreciate the feedback, sir. I definitely do.
Yeah.
So, did you want to chime in on anything in the subject, all by chance, sir?
Yeah. What you're saying, I agree with you, but I think that the whole thing with America and everything is more than what we're looking to for the politics to change everything. Is America and the whole, we got to rethink everything, rethink what we're doing. That's my whole look on it.
No,
because we keep voting people in that have been in office for 20 to 30 years. It's like, come on, look at what you're doing. If you have complaints, address it. Stop voting the same things over and over again. Really look at what you're doing.
No, I 100% agree with you. Matter of fact, I've made a few different. I'm on TikTok as well. I do a lot of talking on TikTok. I've talked about this, saying that we need to have term limits on everybody in office. I think having career politicians is complete bullshit. And that's another thing that's ruining America. And I also made what you talked about there made me think about one of my videos I recently did, where I said the one way we're going to fix America is not by Joe Biden. It's not by Donald Trump. It's not by any politician. It's us as Americans need to unite and come together and stop having this division created by media, created by politics, and realize that we as Americans need to unite and become one and fix the issues together and stop hating on each other because we may have difference of opinions. Everybody's going to have it, no matter what way we look at it and no matter what way we slice it. Everybody's going to have different opinions, but we got to realize that's what makes us human.
Of course, yes. And to have a real outlook on something that wants to change and not just for some political endeavor, school shootings, take away whatever, but actually have something that impacts American lives and us as America. Because we see every day, hey, they're giving funds away across the world. But what about us?
Exactly. Our politicians have forgotten about us.
Of course. And we keep voting them in because, more than half of America is surface creatures. No one wants to take a deep dive and actually see what's going on under the dirt. They'd rather just walk on the, nice sand and wade in the water instead of taking the deep dive and actually addressing the problems and seeing what makes America rethink things and keep going.
It's uncomfortable to read data and information that completely contradicts your belief system. And so for those folks who are not doing the deep dive, they're intentionally avoiding it because they know maybe, inherently that they're going to come across information that is contrary to their beliefs and it might be right. And that's uncomfortable.
Of course. As I can only speak for my own self, fear keeps us from progressing. Keeps us from going on and growing.
Totally.
The unknown.
100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Well, Charles Rowe, man, I appreciate you coming here with the feedback, man. I love it. It's first actual feedback we've gotten on the show. So I definitely appreciate the feedback, man. And I definitely love that you came in and chimed in as well. I've been waiting for people on Wisdom to kind of chime in and talk. I've been trying to call out doctors to come on our show and bring in, some of the pins. Cause like we've always talked about in our podcast, we're two idiot brothers that we want to get our opinions out there and our thought process and just let the show roll. So I appreciate you chiming in, man.
Hey, I appreciate you allowing me on. And like I said, I'm new to this too. Hey, my podcast is the Roads Well Traveled Show. You can find it on Spotify, Google, and also I co-host the Prodigal Brothers. Same thing. You can find it everywhere.
Sounds great, man. Well, I definitely gave you a follow here on Wisdom, and this will be uploaded. By the way, this will be on Apple and Spotify and so forth tomorrow afternoon once I'm done editing the audio stuff. So I appreciate you chiming in.
Hey, I appreciate you having me. You guys stay good. Hey, be safe out here. Hey, I hope to hear your voices later on in life.
Sounds great, man. Appreciate you. Thank you.
For sure.
All right, bro.
All right, take care.
Man. Later.
Bye.
And I don't know how to do the whole ending thing here. Let me see here. Manage, and is this it? Remove guest. Sorry guys, for everybody listening to Apple, Spotify, I'm still getting used to Wisdom, but I like this Wisdom. I love
that's cool. Charles, thanks, man.
I appreciate it. I definitely gave you a follow on all platforms. So let's go back. We got over here on Facebook, we got John Tibbetts chiming in. I'm guessing he's calling this to the politicians. John Tibbetts posted on Facebook, when will we as people start calling out the scumbags for who they are? Criminals, racists, and bullies.
I think it's happening. I think it's happening right now. And I think there's a lot of people who are not happy with the status quo, right? I think if you go online, this is an interesting conversation I was actually having with a friend of mine online. He was saying, like, if you look online, anywhere online, it is gloom and doom and the world is going to end, period, right? But if you go out and you talk to people, like, granted, yes, there's a shitload more homeless people on the streets. That's a very unfortunate reality. But if you go out and you talk to people, like actual humans face to face, whether they're left or right, like, it's interesting. Like, it's not like, I feel like the internet, the social media, the media, I feel like that's the problem. I 100% believe that that's the problem, because if you just talk to people, people are cool.
Yeah, that just threw you off, didn't it?
Yeah. What was that?
PC audio, man. I've yet to get that.
All right. Step by step.
We need a producer.
People are cool. People are cool everywhere. And I talk to a lot of people in a lot of really random places throughout the country, and people are cool.
No, man. So you can talk to everybody from different sides without having an argument. And that's what a lot of people seem to forget. Like, I've mentioned this so many times. I'm on TikTok, and I took a little break. I've been on for a little bit here, but I'm going back.
I gotta get my fix, man.
But listen, I talk to a lot of people who are on the left, that's kind of in the middle, and then are on the right as well. We all come to a standard agreement that, listen, we're gonna have our different opinions, right? It just happens. But we can literally talk, be human, face to face. We're looking at each other. But when you're talking on social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, What's the other one out? Pretty much anything that's type relating. Number one, words can come out worse than what they're actually meant to be. A lot
Because
of
there's no way to like your intention is delivered with your tone, your body language, like
exactly.
yeah. And so intent is a thing that I think people forget about when you say things. It's the intent. Like if I go, hey Mark, like you're kind of getting fat, right? Like that. Some people are gonna be, well, you're not. You're not.
Right.
For
But
the
no,
record.
I
But like,
get
am
what
I telling you because like, hey, I'm concerned about your health, or do I want to clown on you, right? So it's like
right.
the intent matters. The intent matters.
It does. And I think that's where most of these battles come from on social media is people are taking these messages out of context and what they're actually truly meant by the person who's typing it out. I mean, some of them, yeah, people just outright fucking crazy. But, a lot of them people taking out of context, and that's what starts the war. And now we got this big old social media freaking war going on in between people. That's the biggest problem about it. And what did John Tibbetts write over here? Let's pull him up on screen. Mark isn't fat. The world is all peaches and roses. John Tibbetts, man, I love you, man. You definitely post some interesting commentary on our podcast on Facebook, man. I appreciate it.
Always talking shit.
Right. And he likes to throw us off. And I think he does this intentionally to kind of throw us off from what we're talking
that's
about.
good. I'm all about it.
It's good. But no, we, like I was saying on TikTok, we talk about this because we're face to face. You can watch somebody's body language. When you watch a person's body language versus them just typing it, it's a completely different story because you can tend to read a person. Like I've told everybody before when this whole race thing, somebody called me racist. I said, I'm not fucking racist. By any means, I'm not racist. I said, listen, I judge everybody, no matter what they are or who they are, by their character, not by anything else. It's by their character. If they've got a shitty ass aggression and everything and they just want to be a straight thug or criminal, whatever, yeah, I'm probably not going to like you and I'm going to not talk to you and we're going to go our own separate ways. I wish you the best in life, but I don't want nothing to do with you. I was a punk kid in my day, but everybody can turn around. Everybody can turn around, I think.
How come you didn't?
Fuck you. I did. I was a punk kid back in the day in Cali and in here, man. And you know what? Now I'm a business owner, 5 kids, bought a home. I'm happy.
Yeah. Yeah, you've definitely no, I mean you put in the work, man. There's no doubt about that.
John Tibbetts, I'm not even commenting what you posted down there.
Yeah.
You can keep that one out of here.
Right. Get the fuck out of here.
I love you, John Tibbetts, but listen, we're keeping that one out of here, man. So we're talking about shootings, school protection. I'm just trying to remember. Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, you did read about that though, right?
I did not.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi's husband got pulled over and arrested today for an OUI.
Good. Fuck him.
Exactly. And you know what's funny though? I'm surprised that hasn't happened to Nancy Pelosi yet because every time I've watched her, she's always looking like she's either drunk or high.
Oh, she definitely sounds like she's half sauced all the time.
John Tibbetts, it's definitely not censorship, my man. I did not delete the post off Facebook. If anybody wants to know what you say, it's in the Facebook comments. I won't delete it.
Right.
It's against your mission statement, he's saying. For those on Wisdom, please note that we are live broadcasting this right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch as the Mark G Show. So I know y'all listen to us on the Wisdom. If you ever feel free, you can watch the video version of us and see our dorky looking faces on there as well as see the comments that we're getting on social media. Right now, John Tibbetts is just going stir crazy.
He's polluting the comment section.
It is. So I'm trying to remember everything I wanted to talk about. So I told you we're going guns.
We haven't talked about guns yet? All right.
We have talked about guns. I have not got a single person to answer my question yet. People have come at me and said we need to ban all guns because guns kill. I've asked them one simple question and the looks on their face are dumbfounded and then they can't answer me. If you want to ban guns, bad pew-pews, right? Because guns kill people. You know, alcohol, from people drinking alcohol, from OUIs to alcohol poisoning, from domestic violence that alcohol does, from suicides, homicides, all created by alcohol.
Yep.
Why are we not banning alcohol?
Because I need to have my wine at the end of the night, motherfucker, or else I'm going to go out and kill somebody. Right?
I like alcohol because it makes me feel silly.
Yeah, right.
Fuck this face.
It
Oh,
does.
man.
It's a good one. It's a
It
good
is a good one, right? What do you
Yeah.
think, Tibbetts? You liking how my face looks right now over here? I got to get this thing off. But no, man, it's a legit question, right? Alcohol kills more people in the United States. And it's not, it's not just LUIs. Like we say, it's domestic violence. It's from
And
suicide
then what about the health problems?
and the health conditions that alcohol causes.
I mean, look, right? You can't. That's an interesting point, and nobody wants to talk about it.
It is not
It's
at
a
all.
loose correlation, I think, is why. But I'm with you on that one.
John Tibbetts down here. They can have the guns. Stop selling bullets, he says. John Tibbetts. They could limit our bullets. We've had a bullet shortage. We have. I remember at one point having the hardest time to buy my 9mm round. Like, dude, I have not gone to the shooting range in a while because I'm preserving my ammo. Like, because you never know, right? You never know
Right.
what's really gonna need to use it. You really don't. And people question AR-15s, right? So AR-15 is a big bad gun. If I wasn't on social media right now and we were on like Rumble, I would show my weapon, which is on my hip. I would show it and explain to people that an AR-15 is the same, if not equivalent, to my 9mm that sits on my hip. It is not a fully automatic weapon. And that's what people are getting wrong. It's a semi-automatic weapon. A fully automatic weapon means you can squeeze your trigger. Sorry, I said pull. You can squeeze the trigger and hold it, and you're going to get that like an M240 Bravo. You're going to get it. You're going to get that, right? Just one squeeze from the trigger. A semi-automatic weapon is you must hold, boom, boom. There is no fully automatic weapons allowed to citizens. A semi-automatic is you have to squeeze that trigger every fucking time you want to fire off a weapon. Now, there has been an attachment made. Yes, I will say there has been an attachment made for an AR-15 that I maybe not agree with too much as well. But for enthusiasts, it's a hard one. It is a bump stock. Are you familiar with the bump stock, my brother?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so when they squeeze, boom, boom, it allows them to just kind of keep squeezing and bring it in. That may be around some of our guidelines. I don't know. Like, I'm not for it. I would never buy one of those if I had an AR-15. But AR-15s are not bad. Mark G, what's the difference between pink and purple? What the fuck?
More red.
What makes the green grass grow, John Tibbetts? No, man. So, I mean, I just don't get it. We as a nation need to come together regardless. We need to stop politicizing shootings. We need to stop glorifying the killers. That's why when I started off this show, I literally only named off the victims. I will not name off the killer. I will not give him a moment on my show. Neither should any media outlet. Neither should Fox News. Yes, I'm going to name them first. Neither should Fox News, CNBC, CNC, whatever the fuck they are, ABC. None of them should. You should not be glorifying the killers at all because that's what they want. That's what we're going to talk about because I was talking to you about that before we started the podcast. That's what they want. And that's another part of this whole mental thing, right? So as these sick, twisted idiots, I want to go worse, but I'm not going to. Watch the media and they see this on the news. They see another mass shooting and they see the killer's face plastered all over the news. They're naming them off. They're talking about their life stories. They're talking about this and that about them. And they feel like they're in their heads. They feel like that killer is being glorified. And then they're like, wow, that could be me. I could make the world know who I am if I just go do this. And then they go off and do that. And what do? The media plashes them all over there, talks about them. shows them worldwide. They become famous, not for the good things, right? But they become famous for the bad things, but yet they got what they wanted. They got the world to notice them. They got the media to make them famous. And that is fucking scary. You're quite silent on that one. No words come back.
No, I mean, I agree with that. It's I've heard of different things about that, like trying to just make their name live on forever, right? Like,
Right.
I don't know, is it fame or is it to live on forever, or is to like make history or something? But it's like there's better ways to do that.
No,
There's far more positive ways to live forever and idolize your name,
I mean, hell, I'm doing this podcast. And as long as I keep paying my subscription, even after I freaking croak, it's always going to be up on Facebook and YouTube until they're taken down.
until they're done. Yeah.
But
It'll be on the web somewhere.
Sure.
Yeah. It'll be a hell of a lot longer than you, though, one way or the other, right?
Right, exactly. It should outlast me.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, and that it's just touchy subjects on that. And then before we go to the end of this, let's talk about the video you sent me, man.
Oh yeah.
So that was
right?
very, very interesting video. So Gary sent me this video. It was entitled, let me tell everybody so you can look this up on YouTube here. Give me 1 second. I do want to find this video. If everybody's got a pen and paper or your cell phones out, write this down in your notes. The name of this YouTube video, the title of it is Mark My Words. This is coming in 2022. It's time to sound the alarm and prepare. The guy talks about the current.
Hold on. I love to click on those titles. FYI, like everybody's version of doom and gloom to me is pretty funny. Like some people, I don't know, clickbaits are fun for me. So when I saw that, I have no idea whose channel that is, right? I never followed that guy. I didn't even remember what I was looking up. Maybe something on the World Economic Forum. But yeah, so I saw that and I was like, ooh, this is clickbaity as shit. So I clicked on it. Right. So I just happen to agree with some of the stuff that he says. I have no idea how true it is, but it was interesting. Right.
I actually was shaking my head throughout the whole thing saying, wow, okay, he's kind of making sense. I mean,
it does make sense.
I will be curious at the end of June to see
July,
June, July, what he says is legit. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to buy a good bundle of toilet paper every week for a little bit here. So I get a nice little stockpile or a bidet. I mean, fuck, you really don't need toilet paper. If you have a bidet,
you got a bidet, you're good.
Asshole with squirting water. I mean, that works too. So.
But the fact of the like the grain shortage and that's food for animals. That's literally everything in the middle of the fucking shopping store that most everyone eats.
Right.
It's I notice a bunch of gaps in my stores when I'm going into the stores here. There are definitely gaps on the shelves.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely gaps, man. I've noticed my wife has certain cereal sheets. I can never find them, so I have to buy alternatives. There's been a bunch of items I've had to buy alternatives for. It is scary. Like you go in, you're like, I want this. There's been limited on cream cheese. Yep. Like that's why my wife typically makes my cheesecake for my birthday. She makes it fresh and all that. We didn't do it this year for me because they limited the amount of cream cheese you could buy in the store. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So we ended up just buying the cheesecake from the store. But no, so it's scary times we're at.
You think the cheesecake manufacturers are limited to how much cheesecake they can buy?
I doubt that. I highly doubt that. But it is scary. This whole baby formula shortage, the shortage of these meat plants being cut down, the cost of me going up. Dude, I want to smoke a brisket this summer, and I'm scared on how much a brisket's going to cost me. Last year, it cost me $100 for a decent sized brisket to smoke. I can almost guarantee it's going to cost me about $180 now for the same brisket from
it'll be significantly more expensive.
Yeah. It's going to be fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I may have to run a GoFundMe just to get my brisket.
I just bought a bunch of meat and it was $200 for a thing of pork and a thing of beef.
Jesus.
Yeah. And I think normally that would have been less by a lot.
Right. So John Tibbetts, in the middle of our conversation, did post on Memorial Day, our soldiers fought for our freedoms in the Second Amendment. They 100%, they died for our freedoms. They died for everything. They died for the American people. And that is what Memorial Day is for. As a matter of fact, that's how we should end this. Let me talk about that real quick. Let's talk about Memorial Day. Folks, Memorial Day is the day that you don't go around thanking your veterans. It is not the day. And most veterans will tell you that please do not thank me on this day. It is a day for us to remember the fallen, the ones who have given all, even the ones who have fought, lived on, but recently passed away. They're the ones that we remember on Memorial Day. So take a moment tomorrow before you crack open that beer, throw the steak on the grill, have fun with the family. Take a moment to thank those who have given all for us, all of us here in America. That is what Memorial Day is about. Veterans have their day on Veterans Day. Memorial Day is not for them. Memorial Day is for those who have passed and is no longer with us, who have fought and served our country. With that being said, my brother, do you have anything you would like to add?
Just, pay your respects.
I'm going to read John Tibbetts' comment. I wore my Navy hat for my 3 shipmates who died while serving DC-3, Delta Charlie 3, Ryan, F.N. Delia. I'm sorry if I butcher it. Delia and I don't know these Navy rankings. F.N. Bellows. I wish I knew the Navy rankings, John. I don't, so I do apologize if I butchered it, but I understand that these are the rankings. So DC-3 Ryan, F.N. Delia. John Tibbetts, one of these days we're going to invite you on the show, man, so you can talk. I want you on the show, Tibbetts. I think it'd be quite interesting. Okay, here we go. Fireman and damage control. Got you. All right. Yeah, that's how we're going to end it. Are you good, my brother?
We're good, man. We covered it.
We got a 52-minute show out of this. So everybody, what we're going to do now is we're going to transition out on the video. Everybody we're not going to be able to see the comments. I'll go back to look at your comments afterwards. What we're going to do now is we're going to throw up on a screen. It's going to say thanks for watching, and all of our social media information will be down there. John Tibbetts, I do get to remove your thing there. And yeah, let's jam out of here.
You've been listening to the Snowflake Melter, the Mark G Show. Mark is your everyday hardworking business owner that loves America, and he certainly doesn't mind telling it like it is. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. To send an email, it's on air at themarkgshow.com. And find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at The Mark G Show. See you next time.